Hello, everyone. Welcome to Man Samvad. In today's episode, we are going to talk to a second year MBBS student, Vismay Totla. He is going to tell us all about the challenges that students face during NEET and beyond. What is the medical profession all about? He can throw more light as his parents are doctors too. His father is a pediatrician and his mother is a pathologist, Dr. Shilpa. She has also given a very good talk on Josh Talks on this very topic. And I will leave the link in the description. You can definitely watch her very inspiring video on Josh Talks. I will leave Vismay's details in the description in case if any student wants to get in touch with him and has some questions, you can talk to him directly. So let's proceed further with a very insightful talk on NEET, medical profession, and beyond with Vismay. I'm looking forward to this whole conversation to guide our children, students who are right now, currently in ninth and 10th grade. And they're very confused, what should we select? Should we go in for engineering or medical? And
Right.
what are the pitfalls of selecting medical? Because you are a medical student, we'll be talking all about medical medicine. So, my first question would be that when did you start preparing for NEET? Was it your choice or was there any parental pressure to go in for medicine? And a bit about that part.
Okay. So actually, when I was, as every other student, even I was confused in what to pursue. I'm very good at commerce, but also I had the advantage of going to medical as both my parents are doctors.
Brilliant.
So somewhere or the other, I just decided that let's do medical as my parents are doctors, and I have other family members like my extended family who are doctors. So it just made more sense with the pros that come with going for medical. It was I think I would say 50% of me and 50% of my parents.
Okay.
Who then we both decided, okay, let's go to medical.
Okay, perfect. And how was your 2 years NEET journey, the entrance exam journey, in a nutshell?
So it was, I would say, it was very tough. Actually, I had taken a drop year because when my 2 years of NEET journey started, it was in COVID and everything was haywire. And even after taking medical, I wasn't sure that is this the right field I want to be in, or the pros and cons, because as I told you, 50% was me and 50% was my parents. Like we both decided. So the 50% like of me was thinking, should I go? Should I not go?
Okay. Cool.
And that's why I hadn't studied much in those 2 years. But then I pulled through very hard in my drop years. That's why I was able to get a seat.
Okay, right. Yeah, so I was watching this interview yesterday, of first year and second year medical students. So most of them have taken a drop year and most of them have,
Right.
cleared in their second attempt. The same very reason that first year they did not pay much attention. They
Yeah.
took it very lightly. So I think your advice also would be that take it seriously right from the
Yeah.
beginning, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So how many hours did you put in for your studies in NEET?
So what I feel, I would put around in my drop year. I had put around 10 hours in my studies. Like I would do 3 hours of coaching, and I would do other 6 hours of studies.
Self-study.
6 7 hours of studies, self study. I mean, solving questions, going through some video lectures if I'm not understanding something. So that I would do. But ideally, what I feel is that you should do 6 or 7 hours of studies other than your coaching classes.
Okay.
So coaching classes are mainly morning 5 hours or 6 hours, and
Right.
other than that, you should study 5 6 hours.
Okay. That's enough. So
But I would say focus on consistency. It's okay if one do 5 hours or 6 hours, but then pull through the next day because
right.
consistency is very important.
Very important. The same thing yesterday's video, what I
Very.
was watching, they said consistency, hard work is very important. And most
Very
important, they
important.
said, is passion for the field. So join medicine
Yeah.
only if you're passionate. Otherwise, look at
Yeah.
other fields. They were very, very clear.
Yes.
At the end of the video, that was very clear. So I'm sure you have
Right.
now already, generated your passion in this field. You're already a second.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
were you able to pursue any kind of other co-curricular activities when you were studying for competitive exams? I mean, NEET or not?
No.
Okay.
No. I wasn't able to pursue anything when I was preparing. Though I would suggest that you should not put an entire stop on your co-curricular. You can find your weekends, or you can, like, after completing your studies, you can decide, okay, if I like arts, so I can probably draw for 1 or 2 hours. Yeah.
You would suggest it's a good idea to put in at least 1 hour of some kind of a co-curricular activity.
Co-curricular in a week, 1 or 2 hours in a week.
Oh, in a week. Oh, that's it. I thought daily.
Yeah, in a
Like
week.
to play some sport
Yes.
to refresh yourself, to become stress-free or something.
Yeah. Sports, you can play sports or do fitness. That is 101% recommended. Like
Yeah.
I remember I had my NEET on 7th of May, and I was still doing fitness regularly till 5th of May.
Wow, that's
because
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, you can vent out your excessive
yes,
stress, and while you
yes,
are working out, you feel
right.
much better, right? Yeah, that's nice.
Yes, fitness is the greatest detox, I would say. And
Yeah, like detox is the
1 hour is a bit excess of fitness. Probably half an hour can do.
yeah, yeah, right.
Half
So
an hour,
half an hour, you would recommend everyone to do it every day,
everyone,
every day.
everyone. Even if your exam is 2 days down the line, I would recommend just don't do it 1 day before the exam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So moving on, that's your need part. After that, I would like to ask you, if someone is unsure of pursuing medicine, what factors should they consider before making that decision?
Okay.
Like
So,
50-50 initially.
right, right. Yes.
Now you can let the students know, what are the points they should think about, like we spoke about passion, consistency,
Right.
etc. What
Right.
according to you?
Mhm. Okay. So, those honestly, I think 90% of hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, honestly, I think 90% of students are unsure, and it's fine that you're unsure because you are at a very tender age and you are just opening up to the world. And with internet these days, like there are multiple career options. I had heard somewhere that there are 4,500 plus career options.
Oh, wow.
So what exactly to do, what not to do? And you have all these people कि you ये कर वो कर ये field अच्छा है वो field अच्छा है. But what I feel is, if you're unsure, probably you make a pro and con list, that
Right.
why, like, if you go to medicine, what can happen, and if you don't go to medicine, then you also have to whenever you choose a field, you have to keep it in mind that how that field is going to do how that field is going to do 10 years down the line. Like, if you talk about computer sciences, right, in engineering, uh, 10 years before, like in 2010, 2012, around those times, computer sciences was booming. But these is artificial intelligence.
About AI
Now
and
CS is at its peak.
yeah.
Yes. Now AI will be at the peak for the next 10 years. So you have to choose that ways.
And then finally,
So yeah.
saturation comes in every field. So you have to be
Yes. Yeah,
wisely
saturation.
selecting your options. What is it that is futuristic? What is it that's going to work 10
Right.
years time? So even in
Yes.
medical, I think you have to select your PG or the master's or your specialization according to that. Like India is a diabetes capital. So I think endocrinology is going to do really, really well. And in endocrinology, you can select many other options. The eye doctors are
Right.
going to do very well because of diabetes. It's all interrelated,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's about your what do you say, advice for them. Next question, I want to ask you about the mental health and the pressure.
Right.
We hear about this day in day out, especially NEET children or even
Right.
GP children, but NEET I'm hearing a lot, from every corners.
Yeah.
The quota
Right.
factory system is creating a lot of pressure on these children. So some coping strategies that you would recommend when a child
Uh,
feeling too pressured.
okay. So, first of all, that concern why you're hearing a lot of NEET students. I think it's because uh, there are many students who sit for NEET rather than JEE. Right? For JEE, I think there are only 10 or 12 lakhs, 8 to 10 lakh,
NEET is
right?
like almost 24 lakh, I think.
Yeah,
It's
25
too
lakhs,
low.
I think, this year.
Yeah.
24, 25 lakhs. So that's why. And for JEE, like for engineering, there are many colleges, there are many options.
Hmm.
For NEET, there are
And
very less options. Handful, just handful.
yeah.
So to the point of how to handle pressure, the first point I had said in one of the previous answers of mine was fitness.
Hmm.
I think daily half an hour of fitness, anything like whatever, like yoga, running, whatever calms your mind,
Yeah.
that will help you de-stress.
Anything, right?
Yeah, that. Then the second point I would say is some kind of meditation or prayers every day. 10 minutes of that is fine, because meditation has good, amazing effects.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yes.
have tried it, right? That's why you're
Yeah, I still do meditation. Like
awesome.
I still chant Omkar and all, so
Right.
that helps. And third, I think this is the most important, and people don't realize this. I think it's family. It's your family. You have to realize that you have only your family who's going to support, and no one else in this journey. Like
I
your
think
family is
some of
everything.
children are very far away from the family, so the emotional support is not there. I think the food, they are not getting the home cooked food
Yeah,
or
yeah,
difference, and the
right.
isolation, I think, puts them
Yeah,
in a secluded zone. So the whole
right,
emotional thing matters a lot. Like you said,
right.
family, a big support system.
Family. So actually, the people who are at home and are studying for NEET, they are good because they have proper diet and they have like proper family support and everything. But for students who are what we say outside, who study in another far away from their home, so what I feel is that they should have like a open bond with their family. Like they should be able to talk about their struggles, their mental health, and they should be able to be talk in such a way that their parents shouldn't judge them and they shouldn't judge their parents.
Yeah.
So this has helped me a lot because my parents are very open and I can talk to them about anything.
That's
So
what I wish and hope that all the parents who are listening
yeah,
also
yeah,
understand this. And
yes,
especially parents in rural areas, they don't understand all these
yeah,
minute things. They just think कि मेरा बेटा डॉक्टर
right,
बनेगा, मेरी बेटी डॉक्टर बनेगी, and मैं उसको
right,
अगर कोटा भेजूंगी तो वो
right,
100% क्लियर करके वो तो डॉक्टर ही बन गया. इट हैपेंस कि
right,
उनको लगता है
yes,
कि
yes,
नीट में बहुत अच्छे मार्क्स आ गए, मतलब ऑलरेडी सेलिब्रेशन शुरू हो गया.
right, right,
You are the right person who can tell us whether the hard work in NEET or what
yeah,
you're doing right now in MBBS. What's the,
right,
which one is difficult? You can tell us. Just let me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, NEET is rather more difficult. I would feel because
Right.
because in NEET it's in once you're in MBBS, you know, okay, अरे अभी I'm inside, I'm already doing the degree, तो मेरे को डिग्री तो मिलने ही वाला है, ठीक है, मतलब you push through somehow in NEET, and in MBBS you're not competing with anyone, so the pressure is a bit less. So you have
Right.
to study more. The pressure is less.
Right.
Here you have only one shot. You have those 3 hours of your life,
Yeah.
and
Right.
and then the pressure is also very high.
Yeah.
So
That's what I
that's
don't like. The child is studying for 2 years, दिन रात एक कर दिया, इतने घंटे, सब कुछ,
right,
the social life is gone, the personal life is gone,
right,
everything, no Diwali, no Holi, no festivals, no celebrations, no birthdays. And after that, you have only that one day, the only 3 hours to
yeah,
push yourself.
yes,
What if the child goes into some kind of a trauma, some kind of a pressure,
happen.
I mean, and is not able to perform, blank ho gaya. So what happens?
It happens.
And ये बच्चे का थोड़ा ही ना fault है. It's not the child
Right.
who just.
I have my personal experience regarding this. So during my first attempt, even though I was not very well prepared, but I had prepared up to some extent, because at the end of my period, I was like, "ये नहीं, अभी मेरे को I अभी करना है, I have to study." So I had started pulling myself through, like I started studying well.
Right.
But during my examination day, like I started sneezing, and then
Oh
I just started sneezing, and then I had tears in my eyes, like, through because
my
of sneezing and all of that. And then I
God.
had a bit of, then I came outside the center, and then I had fever and all of that. So
My God.
it
So
was tough
obviously that
first.
it's not fair, right? I mean, there
Yeah,
is
it's a bit
some
unfair, but
ongoing, what do you say, evaluation instead of this like holistic, just insert की books पढ़ डालो and then जाके you have to go and give it. The 3 hours is your deciding factor, and then you
yeah, yes,
drop your whole 1 year. I mean, what I was watching yesterday, and I was like,
yeah,
there are students who are like 20, 21 years. That's when they're starting their MBBS because they've taken 2 years drop, third attempt. कितने थे fourth
yeah,
attempt वाले भी? I was like, really, 5 attempts are allowed, right? So, you
attempts a
got
lot.
like almost 20, 19 or 20 when you start your
Right.
MBBS. So that's again one more question I want to ask you. कि when you're starting, उसके बाद 5.5 साल, right? You have five and a
Mhm.
half years to
Five and
complete,
a half years. Yeah.
including internship, correct? To complete
Yes.
MBBS. So you're
Yes.
almost like up to 25 years of age.
25 years.
And is doing only MBBS enough? What happens
Mm.
after that? What
Uh,
specialization? The PG. Again, you have to appear for NEET,
Need PG.
correct?
Yes.
There's again
Yes.
one more step of entrance exam out there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
is it enough only doing MBBS? So can you just throw some light on those aspects
Uh,
and beyond?
okay. So the answer is yes and no.
Okay.
So if you're planning on doing MBBS and then settling in a tier 3 city or a rural area,
Hmm.
sure, it's okay,
Okay.
because right. But
There's
if you're
a
only doing
lot of doctors. कमी है बहुत doctors की तो
हाँ, डॉक्टर्स की
काम
कमी
चल
है, या
जाता
हाँ,
है.
राइट, वही है. एंड if you're doing, like, if you're planning to settle in a tier 3, sorry, tier 1 or a tier 2 city,
Yeah.
पीजी भी क्या, मतलब तुमको सुपर स्पेशलिटी करना पड़ेगा,
Specialty करना
लाइक.
ही. Okay.
तो ये वही.
Yeah. So now again, since we are on this question, I'll just want to know from you, since you are in the system. Lot of children, lot of parents do not even understand कि इसमें cost कितना involved है. The whole
Okay.
MBBS, PG, super specialty, ये सारा. So
Okay.
can you just throw some light on that aspect also, the
Okay.
cost factor?
First. So there are three types of colleges in MBBS.
Yeah.
One is the government, one is private, and one is deemed. So government colleges are almost, they're very cheap, I would say. The yearly fees is of anywhere between 5,000 to 50,000. Hello.
Wow. Okay. But I'm sure getting in is extremely difficult.
Getting in is very difficult.
Okay.
It
That's
is, yeah.
really, really less. But there's a catch, right? I'm sure to get into government colleges.
You have to hard work and consistency, and have to get good marks
Neat, right? It
in
matters.
NEET. Yeah, it
Toppers,
matters.
only the toppers would get
Only
into
toppers. Yeah, yeah.
government colleges. So
Government
that's like
colleges.
hardly
Yes.
a percentage of the whole 24 lakh who are appearing are going to get
Yeah.
into government colleges.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Then there are private colleges which are like I think I would say semi-government. So their fees is around 40 lakhs to 80 lakhs
What?
for
Okay.
for for
Whole
for
MBA,
MBBS, for whole MBBS.
right? 4 years.
So their annual, yeah, 4.5 years. So
Right.
their annual fee ranges from anywhere between 8 to 15 lakhs.
Okay. Wow. So let's
6
consider
to
1 CR for 4.5 years, considering the hostel, the khana, pina, everything else?
Uh, no, don't consider 1 CR.
No.
We consider for something else. I would say 80 lakhs. Let's
Okay.
consider 70 to 80 lakhs,
All
including
right.
everything.
All right.
There are many things like hostel books,
Yeah.
outside food and water.
Right.
And if you want to go in Dean College, it's 1 crore plus. So,
Oh, wow. And
so Dean
maximum
colleges, hmm?
to opt for, maximum students generally have to opt for private or the
Dean
other.
colleges.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So that's the kind of money they'll have to secure, right?
yeah.
Only then they can
So
dream of getting into MBBS. So
yes, yes.
student loans, etc., is the way. And one way is where your parents are really, who can afford it,
You can
and
afford it, and one way is student loans.
student loan. And then that's like you're almost 25 by the time you finish your internship, etc.
Right,
Now let's
right.
focus on PGs. So PG will again you have to appear for your NEET PG, and then
Need PG.
and then again you have to select your PG. Do you get the choice that you want, or it only depends on the marks?
It depends on the marks. So if you're if you're in the top rankings, then you have options like radiology, dermatology.
Okay.
But as you go below,
Below.
like yeah,
Rank, yeah.
so then your options start closing,
Narrowing down. Right. So
narrowing down.
you don't get what you want to even only because you have not got the score in NEET PG, correct?
Poor in NEET
Depends
PG,
on the
yes.
score. Though everyone is MBBS, सबने डॉक्टर तो बन ही
सबने
गए,
डॉक्टर के बट नहीं हाँ
पास हो गए, लेकिन आपका चॉइस आपको मिलना जरूरी नहीं
नहीं
है.
नहीं
अगेन वहाँ पे एंट्रेंस एग्जाम आपको रुका सकता है. UG and the cost involved. I mean UG super
cost.
special and the cost. So just one more question when it comes to cost. Yes, I want to ask you is that people think that medical profession is all about money. तो डॉक्टर बन जा तो बहुत पैसा कमाएगा. You
हाँ राइट
ऐसा लगता है कि डॉक्टर्स के पास बहुत पैसा है, गाड़ी है, दौलत है, शोहरत है, बड़े-बड़े मकान है.
राइट
इसके लिए काफ़ी सारे पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों को बोलते हैं नहीं डॉक्टर बनना है.
हाँ
So can you tell us the reality of this profession and whether ये बात सच है कि नहीं? Because parents need to know. सबसे पहले हमने
राइट
पेरेंट्स को ऑलरेडी बता दिया कि क्या कॉस्ट इन्वॉल्व है. बिकॉज़ जब
हाँ
में अपने बच्चों को नीट के लिए डाल देते हैं, फोर्स करके, उनको ये सब चीज़ें पता नहीं होती है. वो सोचते भी नहीं है
राइट
have this futuristic view, कि
या
I have to have at least a couple of crores in my pocket, unless
राइट
the child is really, really good and gets the topmost numbers in NEET and
राइट
can go to government college. Those who don't have to pay. So that's one thing we already told them. Second,
राइट
वो भ्रम है कि
राइट
डॉक्टर के पास बहुत पैसा है. I don't know whether it's a myth or a
हाँ
fact. Please you let us know.
सो it's just like any other field. Like हर फील्ड में होता है ना कि हर फील्ड में there are very rich people and there are well to do people. I won't say poor but well to do,
Yeah,
right? Doctors में भी ऐसा ही है. The doctors who earn like supremely, and the doctors who, and there are other doctors who are well to do, I would say.
right.
There's just one plus point I think in this medical field is that you have the job stability, right? In other fields you don't have the stability. That's why people say कि पैसा है. I feel that. मतलब there are hardly any doctors who are unemployed, I would say.
Yeah, because
हाँ
there is a lot of requirement as far as a country like India, which has the highest population. So, per 1,000 people, you need at least one doctor. And maybe in the cities,
right.
you might have these kind of doctors, but in rural, it's not happening yet.
Yeah.
But then again,
Yes.
the person who becomes a doctor, the student or the child,
Right.
he or she should be ready to work in rural also.
Oh,
Na? Again, that's
yes.
a question mark, right? That's where the
Right.
doctors are needed. In cities, there are enough doctors. So again,
Right.
there you have. So what I understand is you are just doing MBBS. You can be employed, but ऐसा नहीं है कि पैसे
Yeah.
मिलते हैं. Plus almost
हाँ
35 तक तो पैसा आने वाला नहीं है.
हाँ right. And I think doctors hit their like peak at the age of 45 or 50 somewhere.
Right. So that's when the money.
Yeah.
That's where the money will start actually coming in. No, so I think उन्होंने जो सोचा था जब नीट में डाला था 15 साल के बच्चे को कि
Right.
मेरा बच्चा तो बहुत पैसे कमाएगा 25 साल में, but
Right.
I don't think that's a
Yeah.
fact.
Actually, also I was saying that there are multiple factors also involved, right, in making money. Like even as doctors, there are factors like you should have the business acumen also of
Leadership qualities.
making money, right? You
should
should have
be
the leadership qualities and all that.
yeah,
And also you should be at the right time at the right place. All of that thing
very
is a lot of
yeah. So you just don't have to be good at academics.
yeah.
Whether
So
be it your field, engineering, or any other field, a person has to develop the
uh,
personality and have a overall, good characteristics to work with the
yeah.
team. Have certain features which is actually going to make
Right.
you successful. Be it any profession, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
that's
Yes. Right.
correct.
Yes.
So these were few things which I really wanted the parents and the students to know, when they're 15, 16 and they're deciding.
Mm.
If they think a little futuristic and understand the
Right.
nuances of the profession, it's a beautiful
Mm.
profession. But understanding, कि क्या है
Yeah.
इसमें.
Yeah.
So, because when I was watching these couple of interviews yesterday, also I
Mm.
saw कि काफी सारे जो ऑलरेडी लाइक लास्ट ईयर में है या थोड़े डॉक्टर्स के भी मैंने इंटरव्यूज देखे, दे आर लाइक
Mm.
जिन्होंने हमारे साथ हमारे बैच वाले 10th में जिन्होंने इंजीनियरिंग ली थी या जिन्होंने एमबीए
Mm.
लिया, वो
हाँ,
तो ऑलरेडी सेटल्ड है, बीवी बच्चे सब
settled, I guess.
यूएस में अच्छा खासा घर है, सब कुछ है,
Right.
लेकिन हम तो अभी तक प्रैक्टिस ही शुरू कर रहे हैं. सो व्हाट डू यू हैव
Right.
टू
Right.
से ऑफ दैट?
It's true because day before yesterday I was speaking to a friend of mine who is in engineering,
ओके.
and then it doesn't hit you more often, but when it hits you hard that
राइट.
कि अरे मतलब अभी उसका तो 2 साल में प्लेसमेंट लग जाएगा. Was like because at the starting package is ठीक है whatever it is like 50,000 तो minimum है ही उनका starting package if you're doing engineering from a very good
या.
college minimum package 50,000 and doctors मतलब अ, तब तक मतलब till the time doctors come out from internship these people already have their
सेटलिंग.
own vehicle with their own money.
राइट. That is one
Right.
factor that these students have to also
Yeah.
come, right? It's very important कि you have to
Right.
have that kind of patience and resilience कि भाई मेरा फ्रेंड जिसने इंजीनियरिंग या कोई और फील्ड लिया है वो बहुत ही जल्दी
हाँ,
सेटल होने वाला है, and I have to have
होने वाला है.
patience to settle by 30 or beyond that. That they have to think of
Pure
that
beyond.
at 15, age of 15. नहीं तो बहुत difficult हो. Whether
Easy.
you are doing NEET or whether you are a intern, that's one more thing I wanted to ask you. Like, if you
Yeah.
have any idea, what kind of
Yeah.
life do they have as interns, if you've spoken to your parents or some people around you, and if you can throw some light on that as well, how difficult or easy is internship as a doctor and the life after that, because you see your parents, right?
Right.
Difficulties that they might be, it's not all about pesa,
Right. Right.
amount of
It's
hours, the amount of
amount of hours. Yes.
that they have to
So
put.
in internship तो it depends on the college कि तुम्हारा वो like वो तुम्हारे वो कैसा लगा रहा है like timings and तुम्हारा rounds
Hmm.
like what timings and what rounds they are giving you. But
Right.
it's fine. Like I think in internship it's better. The more work you do, the more you learn in internship. So
True.
the more cleaner hand you have and the more knowledge you have.
Correct.
Right. But after that, the number of hours that you're talking about, that is also variable in what PG you take. Right. If you take a non-emergency branch,
Yeah.
so you are more like in an office job, like 9 to 5.
Okay.
Like dermatology, it is not emergency.
Right.
Radiology, ham. These are
Right.
non-emergency branches. But if you take emergency branches such as
You can.
orthopedics or you can pediatrics,
Yeah. Okay.
so these are more like 24/7 round the clock jobs.
कभी भी कॉल
Right?
आ जाता है, डॉक्टर मेरे बच्चे
कभी भी
को
call आता है.
मैं क्या
हाँ,
करूं?
yes. And for my parents, my mom is a pathologist.
Okay.
So
Nice.
it's more like a 9 to 5 job. Means we have our own pathology lab, but still it's nothing emergency, right? Pathology.
Right.
So my dad is a pediatrician. So at this point, right now he's 50 plus. So at this point, he's finally settled. Right, that he doesn't take emergency cases, or he's like, or he will let
Now he
let
has
you
the
go.
choice of denying, but
Now he has the
earlier
choice
that
of
was not the
denying.
case.
Hmm.
Right.
Earlier, I used to remember like what earlier, like still every day night there are 1 or 2 patients who come at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock
Oh my
every day.
God.
Yeah,
Seriously?
emergency patients are there.
Oh.
When he was a bit young, like 30 to 45,
Hmm.
that time he sometimes used to sleep in the NIC only besides the baby if the baby is serious, or
Okay.
sometimes he used to sleep in the hospital only if the case
Okay.
is a bit serious. So I've seen this.
So
So
there's no
yeah.
personal life as such for a doctor when they are young, when they are still settling down,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. When they're still
Very
settling,
difficult.
there is no. If you have your own hospital or setup, if you're
Yeah.
working for some hospital or setup, then it's all very well managed, right?
Again,
They have many doctors. If you're
you
working for a bigger hospital, right? Like
yeah. So you mentioned about having your own hospital. There was
no,
sorry, yeah. So there was this one thing nowadays that's happening a lot. Having your own facility, your
right?
own hospital has again lots of perils, because then you read in the
Yeah.
newspaper stone pelting, डॉक्टर्स को मारा, छोटे छोटे नर्सिंग होम में बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है, राइट? आई मीन लोगों को लगता है कि
Yes.
नहीं, डॉक्टर ने ही मार डाला है. दे डोंट थिंक कि उनके पेशेंट में कोई
Right.
या कोई भी प्रॉब्लम थी. एंड देन नाउअडेज दे आर
Right.
ransacking the
Yes.
whole facility. They are just hitting left right center without even knowing कि what damage they are doing. जैसे कि
Yeah.
लोग तो अमृत पीकर
Right.
आए हैं जो ऊपर जाने ही नहीं वाले, उनके जो रिलेटिव्स है. It's like
Right.
that they think.
ये हाँ
And if
होता है.
something happens, the doctor is to be blamed. So even getting self-employed,
Right.
having your own facility, your own nursing home is getting a little risky. Rather, might as well have a job
Right.
in a big facility, and you have something coming in every.
Yeah.
At times, you feel that way. That's also one thing to look at, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It happens. Right. Yes, it happens. Even it has happened in our hospitals that there have
Oh,
been fights and there have been brawls between people. It happens less nowadays, but there are strict rules of the government and there are laws which
right,
protect the doctors.
right.
However, if the doctor is at fault or it's the doctor's negligence, he is bound to go into jail.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, right.
uh, and
Tough,
it's
right?
it's
I mean, it's not as
it's
easy as it used to be earlier. And
yeah
like
it's
in the government rules and regulations, what happens is the more rules and regulations, the bigger hospitals, it's much easier for them to
yeah
comply
yeah
with. But as
yeah
an
because they have proper teams. They have they have proper
correct.
emergency teams.
They have
Even they have
lawyers
law
team, they
team.
have this team, they have that team
Yeah.
to take care of the
Right.
holistic, picture.
Right.
But as far
Yeah.
as a person, a single doctor who is putting up a setup, he
Mm.
has to look in single-handedly into a lot of aspects, and
Yes.
that's quite demanding. Apart from your practice,
Right.
you have to look at all these things.
Yeah.
It becomes quite tough, right? That's what
Yes.
you already know about it.
Yeah. Even in our hospital, I think looking at like diagnosing the patient and treating the patient is the easiest part of the job.
Okay,
Managing other stuff is rather more difficult.
right. So moving on to further questions. Life in medical college, please tell us, once you entered medical college, was it the way you expected, or did you face any unexpected challenges after NEET entrance in medical college?
Okay. Yeah. So once I entered medical college, I don't. So I really don't remember what I expected and what not because I had taken a drop and my only thing was कि मेरे को बस अभी कॉलेज मेडिकल कॉलेज में एडमिशन चाहिए ही। तो एक्सपेक्टेशंस तो आई बिकॉज माय बिगेस्ट एक्सपेक्टेशन वाज फुलफिल्ड कि अभी एमबीबीएस का डिग्री तो चाहिए तो वो तो होने वाला था राइट बट yeah things are a bit different and difficult in medical college because you meet all kinds of people right in NEET when you're doing NEET you're kind of in a nutshell like you close yourself off from the world to study
Right.
and you're in your own mental block. You have only one goal. In medical college, your mind is just free, like everything.
Like any college
You
student.
meet all kinds of people and all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm?
नहीं कॉलेज टिपिकल कॉलेज
Yeah.
की तरह हो जाता है.
It's like typical college only. You meet kinds of people. You meet kinds of professors and teachers.
Right.
There are small events taking place. Nothing major. So small events.
बट मैंने
But
रैगिंग
but
के
you have
बारे
to
में
in
बहुत सुना है.
no, ragging is very uncommon.
Very uncommon in
I
all the medical
very
colleges.
even I have. Huh?
I mean, would you say that is true throughout India, or you're saying only particularly in your area or some colleges that you know of? Because I've
No.
heard bad incidences.
Okay, so I can't speak for whole of India because these days
That's
I'm
not
even
bad.
I'm reading about cases in the
Hmm.
south about ragging and
Yeah.
all
No,
of
I'm
that.
speaking
Uh,
to someone, that person, he is doing his internship right now. And I was talking
right.
to him, and he mentioned that his sister was completing 12th grade and his,
Mm,
10th grade, sorry. And
mm.
his mom was like, let's put her also for NEET. He said, no ways. You are not putting her for NEET at all. He was very clear. He had a
I
lot of
think he had a lot of
things to tell about his experience, not only of NEET,
right,
but
right,
also, becoming a doctor, the MBBS 4 years experience. He was from government college. He is rather, he's
right,
interning right now. He's also from government college itself, that too in Bombay,
right.
which is very prestigious, to be from a very good college, government college. But it's like tough. Right now he's interning and I can see, like the working hours are crazy, and he is very clear now that he does not want to practice. He wants to get into policy making side of the
Yeah,
whole.
many people are going to do
Yeah, so
that.
he'll
Yes,
be going for further studies related to that. He said, मुझे डॉक्टर ही नहीं करनी है, लेकिन
right,
इसको मेरे को यूज करना है to make some policies
uh,
which are going to be much
right,
better. You know,
right.
and this chap, he is an intern, वो खुद इतना स्मोक करता है. I mean, being a doctor, क्योंकि वो
So
बोलता है स्ट्रेस ही इतना है.
it's very common in
Yeah,
medical
but
colleges
that
smoking,
also I
drinking.
wanted to know, because drugs are sneaking in a lot. And due to
Right.
stress, I hear that, those children who are away from their homes in medical
Mm.
college, तो बहुत सारे बच्चों को घर से दूर जाना ही पड़ता है. Forget if coaching के time
Uh,
नहीं गए. तो and then lot of children get into these bad vices also to
right,
beat stress or whatever be it. That is
right.
also a big menace, right, these days.
Right. So first question which you had asked is about ragging. So for I cannot say for whole of India or I cannot say for any particular college, but as far as my college is concerned, or as far as my college or some of my friends who I know their colleges, ragging is not involved. Though there is something known as an introduction session where the seniors come and they just ask like from which city you are, what is your name, what do your parents do, more like a familiarization key.
Okay, okay.
हाँ हम तुम्हारे सीनियर है, तुम जूनियर हो, हेल्प, नथिंग, नथिंग मोर, नथिंग लेस,
Hmm.
राइट? So this is what happens. And though I would suggest ki you should do due diligence before going to any college, ki what is the ragging and what all of that scene. Though
Right.
again there are very strict government laws regarding ragging,
But
but
nobody follows it, unfortunately.
it depends on the management, कि कितना
Yeah.
seriously.
The kind of college that you go to, I think that's what at the end of the day matters,
Yes,
right? Where you
right.
are, which city
And
you are, which town you are in, and what kind of college it is. That's what I
yes,
think. Maybe private universities and deemed universities might not have so much of a ragging culture.
yeah,
And
yeah,
again, the same intern who I was talking to about, he said, the work timing, especially he said no to his
mm,
sister because uh, for a girl, late night hours,
mm,
working hours, and then if she is
mm,
relieved from her duty at 3 a.m., and then she has to
right,
go home, it's going to be difficult.
right.
She has to sleep in the
Yes,
hospital only, like by 5 or 6
right,
a.m.,
yeah,
maybe she can
yeah.
go. But then again, your duty hours are so weird. So for a girl child, I mean, student, it
Mm,
becomes a little difficult. I feel that before you join any profession, I'm not only saying medical, like when the
mm,
child is in 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade, of course, that's a final thing,
mm,
straw. The parents should start researching and understanding various fields. Start talking to
right,
the professionals instead of, just
right,
listening to the counselors or looking at the big advertisements of these
yeah,
coaching institutes and who are the
mm,
toppers and itna hamare institute se itne bacche top aaye ye
right,
hua. Instead of
right.
looking at that, they should actually start researching. What do you think?
Yeah, that's actually true. They should, the more, first after 8, 9, 10, once you have narrowed down your choices, so then you can talk to some people. Like you should talk to someone who's very experienced, someone who's in college, and someone who has like in the mid like just passed out of college but is practicing. Like
Yeah.
so you get all three, like experienced person, kabhi you get someone in college, like you get a fresh perspective, old perspective, and someone in mid.
Correct.
And you should talk to people who are unbiased, right?
Mm.
Like now many people love their field, like they're satisfied, so they'll be like acha field hai, yahi karo. But if you
Right.
talk to more unbiased people who
Yeah.
will speak from both the sides,
You have to have a neutral, someone's neutral opinion who will
neutral
say the pros
opinion.
and the cons equally. That's very important.
Yes,
Yeah, so
but it
that
also it even after doing all this due diligence, in the last it falls back on you कि तुमको क्या करना है. Like even if someone says कि doctor is very bad, if for example if someone says doctor is very bad, don't become one, all of that. But if you want to become a doctor, nobody can stop you.
correct.
You will
Yeah,
still
yeah. So
choose to
that's
do
what I'm
it.
saying.
So that is your personal
The
choice.
child's passion, अगर बच्चा सोच रहा है कि मेरे उसका सेवा भाव है उसको wants to
हाँ,
do it for humanity, is okay with the working hours, that kind of, because if he's getting satisfaction in helping someone, in resolving someone's health issues, then
right.
definitely this profession is for the student. But if you're thinking only कि इसमें पैसा है and मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है,
हाँ,
is that right? No, I don't think so. Then they have
yeah,
many more other options.
any other
And
options.
another thing, हमारे यहाँ इंडिया में ऐसा है कि बच्चे का 10th में 95 90 प्लस परसेंटेज आ गया,
Mm,
तो इट्स लाइक नहीं नहीं इसको साइंस लेना है और इसको
right, right.
डॉक्टर बनना है,
हाँ,
आइदर डॉक्टर इंजीनियर, और उसमें भी अगर यू वेरी गुड एट बायोलॉजी एक्सेट्रा, नहीं नहीं इसको तो
mm,
डॉक्टर ही बनना चाहिए.
doctor even, right.
You think those are the deciding factors to become, to take medicine
No,
as a
no,
profession?
not at all. Not at
Right.
all.
Because
I, I've seen students with 98% also fail. Uh,
correct.
they fail to crack in it, and I've seen students with 75% also topping it. So it's very
Exactly. So I don't think that even if your child has been a topper since grade 1 till grade 10 in school, doesn't mean
good.
वो उतना ही अच्छा perform करके हर एक चीज में कर पाएगा.
Right.
Because once you
Yes.
enter, yeah, you tell me, you are the better judge of this.
No, it's when you told me this point, I realized that once you enter MBBS, right, and like if you have 90% in your 10th and you think like I'm smart now, though I've entered MBBS, and all of a sudden your grades will drop to 60%, 70, 60%. Like 70 is also very much on that. I'm telling you,
Okay.
60, 65%. You'll be like, what happened? I was always a topper student. Why did my grades drop? But
Right.
it's just that in MBBS, it's just you will scoring more than 70 is a dream. Like
Oh, okay. Everything. So I'll just move on to, we spoke about the financial reality, how, what are the financial aspects of
yeah,
MBBS and PG
MBBS.
and beyond that. So tell me, if not medicine, then what? जिसने NEET दिया है, let's say.
Mm.
If you have any
Correct.
idea on that, कि if someone puts in the same effort and does not get very high marks in NEET and is not able to
Right.
take up medicine, so what are the other options that they can actually look at?
So, as you might be knowing, there is MBBS, there is BDS, means dentistry, there is
Yeah.
BHMS, BAMS,
So they have
right?
these
There is,
options,
they have these options. Then they have pharmacy as an option,
right? Okay.
BPharm,
So
right?
ये सारा भी they can explore, right? They all are
So
doing
they
good.
can explore.
It's
Huh?
all the professions are doing pretty good these days.
Yeah,
Physiotherapy
yeah.
is doing such a big,
There is
big,
physiotherapy.
yeah.
Yes. There's
So
also nursing. Though nursing also good. They are
right.
also well-paid people, and they are also never out of jobs. I would say
Yeah, yeah.
hardly.
I think yeah, it
Then
goes on, and
people,
a lot of people go abroad also as
yeah, a
well.
lot of nurses go abroad. Yes.
What I'm seeing is a very stark difference. Children whose parents are doctors, okay, are
They opt.
going
Yeah.
for super specialty and they go
Yes.
abroad,
Yes.
for super specialty. Generally,
Yeah.
what happens is either they join, I mean, they are in the same field. If
Mm.
your parent is a
Right.
pediatrician, then they also go to become
Right.
a pediatrician or whatever.
Yes.
And if not, children those who do not have any family
Yeah.
who is in
Right.
this field medicine, then for them
Right.
it's they have to start from scratch. So वो super specialty के लिए directly जाते नहीं हैं. They wait,
Mm.
they earn, they
Yeah.
get into the profession, they understand the nuances, and then after understanding and after a few years of experience, I think they go in for super specialty. Am I
Right.
right?
Yeah. Actually, I have a personal story of this. So
Okay.
I will tell you the stark, like the very stark difference which you told me right now कि parents जिनके doctors है और जिनके नहीं है.
Right.
So my grandfather, he wasn't a doctor, and
Oh,
my dad chose to become a doctor. So
right.
my dad did his MBBS from government college, and
Okay.
then after MBBS, my grandfather had retired. So my grandfather had started telling my dad कि now you start doing your practice. We need money.
Okay.
Like start earning now. You have to think now about your family and all. But my dad was very like stubborn, like that I want to study further. At least let me get one more degree for
Hmm.
PG. Then I'll start my practice. Then
Right.
my dad took one more degree and he started. Then he became a pediatrician and then he started his practice.
Nice.
And for me personally, my dad says कि तेको जितना पढ़ना है पढ़ाई कर. We are there. Like he even says कि even if you want to study to super specialty or even beyond that, like
Right.
even if you want to after super specialty, even if you say कि नहीं dad I want to do some more courses
Right.
in
Yeah.
the field for 2 or 3 years, we don't mind. You study as much as you want.
Exactly.
But it's because of financial backing is there
Correct.
somewhere or the other,
Yeah.
and other people they just like they start earning as soon as they get out because they have already invested the time, energy, and money. So
Yeah.
now their thing is, and
You're
somewhere or
almost
the other, even
like
the
30.
parents are running out of resources.
Yeah, correct. Because when you're almost like 32 and
Yeah,
high time that parents को भी लगता है, and even the student feels ना कि I should now start
exactly.
earning. It's high
Start
time. How
settling.
much should I
Yeah,
be dependent on my parents, and especially those who come from rural or economically weaker section?
right.
For them, it's not a choice. It's a
Yeah,
compulsion that they have to start
the
working
person is
because by 30, 32, if you've not started earning, it's
right.
difficult. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I was saying. Because around me also I have some children whose parents are doctors, and unko same thing. Yeah, you go ahead
mm,
and study as much as you want. No
right,
issues. You can come
right,
back and start your practice after that. But that's not the
right.
case with other children.
Because till the time our like the parents who are doctors, they are holding down the fort, right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
they're
Correct. And the thing is, having a doctor in the family, they understand everything about the field,
right.
the
Yeah,
pros, the cons, and what is there in future also for their child.
right.
They understand. And they can
Yeah,
guide their children very well, of the
yes.
pitfalls. If they are doctors, their circle is, their
Mm,
friend circle is also doctors. So there are many
right,
people who are guiding the child, how to go about.
right.
Whereas for a
Yes.
layman, it's going to be very, very difficult. So I wanted to ask you a question that a lot of children who get low marks in NEET and do not get admission here in India do end up going to countries like Russia, China, earlier Ukraine also. And
Yes.
when they come back or when they are there, what is the difference and what are the difficulties and challenges they face when they're studying from these countries?
There are two aspects to this which I'll cover both. First aspect is that when you go there, that is the first, and then one is after you come back. So the first thing is when you go to countries like Russia and China, you have to keep many things in mind. First, it is far; you cannot come home again and again.
Right.
So you feel homesick. There are
Yeah.
different people, there are cultural diversity, weather changes, food, and everything, and there is no way out because you
Correct.
can't come home, right? It's
Yeah.
costly, it's far.
Yeah.
The second thing with this ongoing world situation with wars and everything, you have to keep in mind what is the political situations and
Correct.
stability in that country.
COVID was there.
Huh?
Wuhan. So many children had to
Uh,
come
yeah, Wuhan, and
left in.
then that, and then other than that, also I would say Ukraine and Russia war,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
the students who are studying in Ukraine had to
Yeah. Correct.
come back to India, right?
Uncertainties
So
of studying abroad. Yeah.
uncertainty, so you have to look into that.
Right.
And third also कि वहाँ पे जो knowledge है, if you're planning to come back to India, then I would suggest कि you do MBBS in India. But if you're planning to like settle in Russia, तो तुम रशिया में MBBS करो, रशिया में settle हो जाओ. यूक्रेन में करना, यूक्रेन में MBBS करो, settle in Ukraine, right? That is rather easier. But India is better because India में थोड़ा सा what we say uh, Indian Indian portion है, like कुछ
Oh,
some
yeah.
diseases are common in India, तो थोड़ा Indian type सिखाते हैं.
Correct.
तो
Correct. So there's
right,
stark difference in the kind of studies, the way
yeah,
you would be. I
yeah,
mean, the anatomy, the physiology, the biology must be the same. but
हाँ,
certain aspects, which is from Indian point of view, would not be there when they study over
right.
in other countries.
Yes.
Correct.
And what I have heard from other countries is India may they give you proper cadavers and bodies to dissect. Like you have hands-on experience in India,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Uh,
But that's not the
in,
case.
out of India, you don't have hands-on experience.
Oh,
It's more simulator based.
oh, okay.
So hands-on is way better.
Okay, okay. Yeah, this is something I wouldn't know. Only a
Right.
medical student can let us know, lay people, that how is it.
Yes.
So once they are back, because I was talking to a doctor last year, and she's a young doctor, and she's still wondering, what she should pursue as far as her PG is concerned. And
Mm.
she had studied in Russia. Uh,
Okay.
and she told me exactly the same things. She's like, no, first thing I would advise students,
Mm.
please look at other professions if you can. This is
Yeah.
not a easy profession to go for, whether it is studies. Second thing, I would tell them, possible hai to India mein hi padho. I have
Because
been there and I have come back, and I know the challenges that I'm facing.
because
These are
what happens, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
the-
and because when you study out of India, you come in India, so you
yeah,
have to give a particular known as FMGC, Foreign Medical Graduate Exam, FMG exam.
okay.
So that exam is you can pass if you study,
Hmm.
but even after passing that exam, your degree doesn't hold that much of a value in
Oh,
the Indian degree, right? So if even if someone comes for a job, I've done MBBS from India,
hmm.
so he will get a salary of 40,000, let's say. And if
Hmm.
someone comes and say I've done my MBBS from Russia or China, so
Yeah.
he will get a salary of 25,000.
Oh,
25,000. Yeah. So there's a
big
starking
difference.
difference.
Oh.
Big
So
difference.
if
Yeah.
Indian MBBS available here, interns, doctors, then they will get the priority over the Russian and
Yeah.
Chinese
Yes.
studied people.
Intern study.
Oh, so there'll
Yes.
be a disparity between both of them. So
Price also. Yes.
challenges. This is also a big challenge that people will face if they've
Many
studied
people
abroad.
face this.
Though initially
Yeah.
they might save the money when they
Mm.
study abroad,
When
because
they,
that's a big factor,
yeah.
right? The money is
Yes.
also
Yes.
a factor.
It's
Because of
it's
the
40
work.
lakhs something. Yeah.
Yeah.
40 lakhs to 40, 50 lakhs depends.
After
And
come
if
back, there are a lot of
compared to one lot of challenges.
and again, I think 1 year of studies they have to do to give that exam, right? It's one more year
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
to test. So that
That
also
1 year that also you're telling when like they do it in the first attempt.
clear.
They
Okay,
have
right, right. Otherwise,
they
not.
clear in the first attempt.
Oh
There are
my.
people give
So they have
multiple
to
attempts.
add 1 more year or 2 more years to their degree, right? Instead of 5.5
Hmm.
years, unka 6.5,
Yes.
7.5 years हो जाएगा.
Yes. And I think there is one more rule which I'm not sure कि उनको इंडिया में आके भी एक्सेल इंटर्नशिप करना पड़ता है. I'm not sure about this rule, but I've
Yeah,
heard
but
or read.
it's possible because this doctor whom I was speaking to last year, the young doctor, she was actually interning at Baba Hospital at that time. After
So yeah,
coming up, obviously she cleared her exam and then she
FMG.
was
Yes.
interning at that time. So definitely, I think that's
Right.
a fact that they have to.
Yes. Yes. They have
Oh
to.
my God.
So you give 6 years. 6 years. That also I'm telling 6 years of your life.
Yeah,
In that also, when you've cleared your NEET in first attempt and
yeah.
you've cleared your FMG Foreign Medical Graduate Exam in first attempt,
First attempt,
then
yeah.
you done 6 years.
Yeah. So basically, settle होते होते 35 plus तो हो ही जाएगा.
हाँ.
Yeah. At least for
होता
these
है.
students.
25, 30.
नहीं मतलब पीजी
हाँ, for these students
करके
a bit tough.
हाँ बाद में I'm
हाँ,
saying.
PG करके 30, 32, whatever
Yeah, whatever. Depends on how many attempts you have to take, right?
attempts. Yes. Yes.
Right. So, two important questions I wanted to ask you. One was that I do read that lot of students say मेरे बैच में
Hmm.
से 60 to 70% बच्चों को तो मेडिकल में आना ही नहीं था.
हाँ.
नीट में थे, ऐसे हैं
Hmm.
स्टूडेंट्स हु टेल मी कि इतने बच्चों को तो करना ही नहीं, पेरेंट्स के प्रेशर की वजह से वो आए हैं. कितने
Right.
हैं जिनको फिजिक्स परस्यू करना था. सो दिस इंटर्न डॉक्टर दैट आई एम टॉकिंग टू यू अबाउट, he also told me that in his batch almost 60% students wanted to pursue physics.
Right.
But parents were like नहीं नहीं फिजिक्स तू कब करेगा, मास्टर्स करेगा, पीएचडी करेगा, उसके बाद तेरे को
Hmm.
जॉब मिलेगी नहीं मिलेगी,
Right.
एंड दिस काइंड ऑफ मनी मिलेगा कि नहीं
Hmm.
पता नहीं. सो आई वांट टू
Right.
आस्क यू, इज दैट अ फैक्ट?
Yeah, it's a fact. I won't say 70, but I would say 40% students are there in every batch कि जिनको pursue नहीं करना होता है. And उनका ये होता है कि कब like they are in it, they come to MBBS because उनके parents उनको बोलते हैं कि नहीं बेटा कर ले. Or then sometimes it is just that they are not good at something else, so they are like अब क्या करना MBBS करते हैं. So
But then not good at something else, सबसे डिफिकल्ट डिग्री लेके कैसे, मतलब इट इज
नहीं
नॉट.
because मेरे को when given an option between engineering and MBBS, they choose MBBS because maths नहीं आता ना.
ओह
तो
या मैथ्स,
थोड़ा सा वीक होता है मैथ्स तो
बिग
वी
फैक्टर.
मैथ्स प्लेज अ फैक्टर. हाँ तो दैट्स व्हाई. एंड देन समटाइम्स इट्स जस्ट लाइक एमबीबीएस के बाद वी विल फॉलो आवर पैशन. दिस इज समटाइम्स इट्स अ फॉल बैक डिग्री फॉर मेनी कि कुछ नहीं तो एमबीबीएस तो सही मतलब
ओके.
ऐसा
सो
बहुत लोगों के लिए होता है कि मतलब मेनी रीजंस. many go into like policy making like you told,
लाइक आई
then many go to MBA.
Yeah, because
lot
now
of
you can be an entrepreneur also when you are a doctor.
yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
entrepreneurs you know of who are founders of their various
right,
companies, and they are starting on their own in various fields
right,
as well. So that is
mm,
one more thing. So when I was listening to this interview from this senior doctor, he said that engineering mein na kafi sara you can pivot. Being an engineer,
mm,
there's a lot of things
yes,
you can pivot into, but being a doctor, there are not so many options, and you have to stick to
mm,
practicing or
right,
a little bit of others. And especially abhi startup culture aa gaya hai, and there's so much
mm,
bio
mm,
एंड टेक्नोलॉजी. सो
biotech, yes,
इसलिए अभी डॉक्टर्स का डिमांड भी बढ़ गया है अलॉन्ग विद
बढ़िया,
इंजीनियर्स. दोनों
yes,
मिलके बायोटेक में काफी डिमांड
right,
बढ़ गया है. सो
yes,
दैट्स yeah, so basic question was there are a lot of children who do not want to pursue, but
mm,
because of the parents pressure they kind of
mm,
get into it, and then they
right,
just kind of go with the flow, whatever
no,
happens.
yes.
Yeah, so there are children who do drop from MBBS like after first year second year. ऐसे होते हैं बच्चे? I'm not too
Uh,
sure.
काफी कम होते हैं. Like every batch, there is like probably one student who leaves MBBS, or who leaves willingly, or who just fails every year. So then he
Okay,
has to take a drop.
right.
But hmm.
Yeah, so
But
that
it's more like कि एक बार तुम घुस गए मतलब once you're inside the field तो you just push through की
there's
like
no
what
looking
to
back.
do. There is no looking back. Yeah, you'll just push through कि ठीक है अभी now I've put this much time effort. My parents have put in money, so no,
Yeah,
let's just take a degree. Then we will see what we have to do in the future. What we
yeah.
like, what we don't like. Yeah.
Got it. And the most shocking or disturbing thing for me
Hmm.
was when I put out my last video on whether to
Hmm.
go in for these integrated coaching
Hmm.
classes, JEE and NEET or not. And I was
Hmm.
talking about various aspects that what all involves when you put your child into integrated coaching
Right.
classes. And there was a girl who had put in a comment where she said कि मुझे ये नहीं करना है, मेरे पापा
Hmm.
मुझको फोर्स कर रहे हैं, मुझे सिंगिंग डांसिंग ये सारी चीजों में इंटरेस्ट है, मेरे से नहीं हो पा रहा है. एंड शी हैड पुट अ लॉट ऑफ क्राइंग इमोजीज इन दैट कमेंट.
Right.
एंड
Okay.
फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग व्हेन आई रेड इट आई वाज शेकन. I was
Okay.
scared that this girl's mental status seems to be in a very delicate situation right now,
Hmm.
and I was
Okay.
being very carefully to answer her, very sensitive to answer her.
Hmm.
So I just said it's just an exam. NEET, she was into NEET, and
Hmm.
she said, I'm not able to cope up with the pressure, and I
Right.
don't even want to do it. So,
Right.
what advice would you give to such children?
So for such children, I would feel like I empathize with you first of all because I have gone through this similar phase. I have even gone through that phase with my parents also कि मुझे नहीं करना. Because I told you like 50% तो उनका है, 50% मेरा
Ah,
है, मुझे नहीं करना. All of
right.
that crying, shouting, I went through all of it, so I can feel you, I can empathize with you.
Actually, yeah.
And if if you're pretty certain that you don't want to do it, I think probably you have to like sit down and open up to your parents. Ki, I cannot do it, and I don't want to do it, and like you know the first answer which I told you, you have to be open with your parents and
Yeah,
you have to
that's
talk
but
about it.
again I also
And
come to the same thing कि काफी
right.
पेरेंट्स रेडी ही नहीं है सुनने के लिए. नहीं नहीं तू कर
There
ले.
are many parents who aren't willing to listen, but even it was I think it's just the Indian mentality where the parents feel कि हम हमेशा सही है. उनका कुछ गलत नहीं. They always want the good for their kids, but they don't realize how to do that
Correct.
sometimes,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So I feel rather than one thing that always helps me at my place with my parents
yeah.
in any situation, not only this NEET and all this, is कि whenever I talk to them, I go with proper facts. कि
Okay.
नहीं, and I'm very clear about my emotions. कि
Right.
नहीं, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. This is how I feel,
Yeah.
and this is why I feel like this. And these are my other options. If not NEET, what other options I have? Then a
Mm.
bit, not a lot, but a bit detailed study. Okay, if not NEET, I'll go for biotech. So
Right.
बायोटेक में इतना खर्चा आता है, बाद में इतनी इतनी सैलरी मिलती है, ठीक है, नीट नहीं देना, चलो फिजियोथेरेपी है, इतना इतना ऐसे ऐसे यू कैन डू दैट.
Yeah.
और
A
कोई और
child
फील्ड है तो भी
should
ठीक है
be in
मतलब.
that position and in that mental
हाँ,
position to take the actual facts with pros and cons to the parents
यस,
and then explain instead of just saying मेरे से हो नहीं रहा है मैं कर नहीं पाऊंगी, but actually they
हाँ,
have come to such a sensitive, such a delicate stage कि तभी उनको वो सोच भी नहीं पा रहे, right and wrong के
हाँ,
बीच में ही नहीं सोच पा
राइट.
रहे. So इससे अच्छा
think
है
I can understand the girl's frustration. Like
yeah,
some in India, it's very uncommon for people to put their thoughts into words,
emotions. Yeah,
emotions into words, especially. So it's tough, but you should try at least.
yeah,
And if not your parents, I realized after answering that when I told be open with your parents, sometimes your parents can't understand. It's fine, right? But then you should have one person, an elder person, I would say. So you
yeah,
should have a mentor, or even many people go to coaching. So one teacher there where you
mm,
can open up to, or
correct.
right. So
Open
you will
conversation.
have open conversation with your teacher. Probably your teacher will probably make the parents understand कि नहीं
Yeah.
ऐसा मत करो. And I think teachers sometimes understand better because they have
Uh,
taught these students and they've seen the students day in day out. So
correct.
like that.
So your advice to them is be open, be practical, carry your facts, along with you when
हाँ,
you're talking to your parents, why you don't want to,
right.
because for
Yeah.
them they feel कि नहीं नहीं ये तो आलसी है, इससे पढ़ाई नहीं हो रही है, इस
हाँ,
बट
yeah.
ऐसा नहीं है कि
ऐसा नहीं है।
काफी दूसरी चीजें ऑप्शंस है जो आप उनको
हुँ,
दिखाएंगे तो वो समझ में आएगा, राइट? कि
right.
हाँ, कि
Yes.
आप ये भी कर सकते हैं, ये भी कर सकते हैं,
हुँ,
क्योंकि उनको तो पता नहीं है। बट आप
right.
उनसे बात करेंगे, उनको ये सारी चीजें
हुँ,
बताएंगे, देन मे बी
right.
they will be accepting of the fact कि ठीक है चलो,
Right.
don't do it, it's fine.
Yes.
I think even before you go spiraling down towards that depression or
हुँ,
stressful situation,
right.
उसके पहले ही I think when you feel कि मेरे
Right.
को नहीं करना, तभी ऑल्टरनेटिव सोचना शुरू कर देना चाहिए,
हाँ, शुरू कर
राइट?
देना
एंड
चाहिए।
गैदर योर फैक्ट्स कि क्यों ये प्रोफेशन नहीं एंड क्यों ये प्रोफेशन मुझे
हुँ,
सिलेक्ट करना है। एंड लाइक यू सेड
yes.
कि ओपन कॉन्वर्जेशन, आई थिंक स्टूडेंट्स को कहीं ना कहीं पे और पेरेंट्स को भी, ज्यादातर पेरेंट्स को थोड़ा अपने
The
बच्चों को
parents.
अंडरस्टैंड करने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि
Yes.
15 साल
Yes.
आप उनको अपने शेल्टर में रख रहे हो, अपने
Right, right.
संभाल के, इमोशंस सब कुछ संभाल के,
हुँ,
ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आप उनको भेज देते हो कोचिंग में किसी और सिटी में।
right,
वो एक तो
right.
सिर्फ 15-16 साल के हैं, they are at
हाँ,
such a delicate stage, they are still
हुँ,
forming their identity. And as a counselor, I've studied psychology, and I know at teenage they are forming their identity, so there are psychological changes, physiological changes, emotional changes
हुँ,
in a child happening during teenage years. So there's a
right.
lot of turmoil happening. So it's not only
Yes,
the study pressure, there's so much other things going on. I
right.
just wish and hope that parents understand this, right? What do
And
you?
I think a point for the parents is it's rather better that your child comes and talks to you directly than you getting the news from some person
Yeah,
ki,
that's totally okay.
that your child told me this and this is how he feels. It's
Rather
rather
worse
better.
news, I feel.
Huh?
उससे भी खराब अगर कुछ सुनने में मिलता है जब पेरेंट्स,
हाँ,
दैट वुड बी द वर्स्ट थिंग,
that's
कि
the worst thing.
आप
Yeah.
ऐसा कुछ सुनो उससे पहले, इससे अच्छा बच्चे की बात सुन लो,
हाँ, yes,
तो
yes,
आपका बच्चा तो बच जाएगा।
right.
कोई भी एग्जाम, कोई भी प्रोफेशन बच्चे की लाइफ से कीमती तो नहीं हो सकता है,
Right.
राइट? जिस बच्चे
Yes,
को
and also yes, and also the main thing is the student and parents both have to realize कि whatever profession the child is picking, वो उसका प्रोफेशन है, ठीक है? आपने आपकी जिंदगी जी ली, आपका
यस,
प्रोफेशन आपने जी लिया, वो बच्चे को he has to carry that profession and he has to work with some satisfaction towards his or her profession for the next 50, I think 50 years is a very good guess, or 40
या
years. If he's
या
20, then till the age of 60 he'll have to work.
या
So
तो
if he's going to work dreading every day, it's not going to work out.
तो वही ना, तो पेरेंट्स क्या कर रहे हैं, अपनी जो एस्पिरेशंस है वो
उनमें
बच्चों
डालते
पे
हैं।
डाल रहे हैं। दैट इज
हम्म,
हैपेनिंग मोर ऑफन देन नॉट, आई थिंक विद 90% ऑफ पेरेंट्स, एटलीस्ट इन इंडिया। ओनली द
yeah,
10% मे बी द मोस्ट, द एजुकेटेड, द अंडरस्टैंडिंग
right,
पेरेंट्स आर लीविंग द
hmm,
चॉइस टू देयर चिल्ड्रन की हाँ ठीक है, वील हेल्प यू select
right,
what profession you want. Let's do this together.
right.
We'll help you research, understand, and we are with you. बच्चा घुमाने से पहले बच्चे को क्या करना है
हाँ,
वो समझो। आपके
right.
एस्पिरेशंस थे कि आपको डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर या कुछ और बनना था, वो बच्चे पे मत डालो। दैट इज
Yes,
व्हाट आई फील,
yes,
एंड आई
yes.
थिंक यू विल एग्री टू दैट completely.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. And also, it's more. Also, I would not blame the parents directly. It's a combined effort of the parent and the child ki
Yeah, yeah.
how they navigate through situations.
So thank you so much, Vismay. It was
Mm,
amazing talking to you, getting all the insights
right,
of Neet and your college, how things are. And beyond
right,
that, since you have more exposure, so your parents are doctors, you could give
right.
us many more,
Yeah,
much more information that we
right.
needed. I'm sure the
Yeah,
students and the parents will be very happy and will get a
yes,
lot of information from your interview, from the
right.
things that you had to share with us. Thank you so much and wish you all the very best for your
Thank
profession.
you. It was great talking to you, and I hope all the best to all the students who are doing NEET, and I
Yeah.
hope you navigate your life and
Yeah.
whatever you want to pursue. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Even I want to wish all those students all the very best and please take the correct decision. And I think Vismay's ideas were very, very helpful. They will take the correct decision, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.